It's something that the company's actually very good at doing, and they did it with Joni, which is that once she was let go, it's like she was completely erased.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 darkest real-life female wrestler stories.
I go, Lex is married. And she goes, I know. That's the problem.
For this list, we'll be ranking the darkest and most troubling life stories behind female personalities within the pro wrestling industry. This means we'll be allowing managers and non-wrestlers alongside in-ring performers. Number 10, Rockin Robin.
He could be a hero, but to me, he was my monster.
There have been multiple documentaries regarding the rise and fall of one Jake the Snake Roberts, but it was perhaps the Dark Side of the Ring episode that documented Roberts' career that shined the brightest light upon the career of his half-sister, Rockin Robin. This former WWF Women's Champion was the victim of unspeakable trauma at home.
I had no idea how to process that. I mean, you just don't.
Later on in life, Robin would see her adult home destroyed by Hurricane Katrina before finally finding some sense of normalcy as a real estate agent in Louisiana.
Nobody dropped the ball. It's not anybody's fault. It was how it was.
Number 9, Daphne. The most recent tragedy on this list is, unfortunately, one that seems to occur all too often, and shines a light upon how important proper care and diagnosis is for our collective mental health. This is because Shannon Spruill, also known as Daphne, died unexpectedly in September of 2021. The former WCW and TNA star had posted a disturbing video on Instagram, which caused her fans to immediately reach out to local law authorities for a wellness check. Unfortunately, it was too late. The charismatic and hardcore Daphne was taken from the wrestling world and her fans far too soon. Number 8, Ashley Massaro. The world of women's wrestling today is far removed from the divas that prowled WWE rings during the Attitude Era and beyond. Ashley Massaro nevertheless stood out from that crowd, thanks to her immense charisma and ability to connect with her fans. Massaro's relationship with the WWE, however, was complicated, with accusations of sexual impropriety stemming from a military tour in Kuwait. Massaro was also concerned with concussion and neurological protocols within the company, and was involved in various mental health organizations prior to her death. Sadly, Massaro was found unresponsive by paramedics on May 16, 2019, after failing to report to her DJ job the day prior. She was just 39 years old.
She never turned down an autograph, she never turned down a picture, and whoever came up to talk to her got to tell their entire story because she listened to everything.
Number 7, Hana Kimura. We realize that the stories covered here, well, they aren't the happiest, but we'd like to try and approach these entries with as positive an approach as possible when we say that it's of the utmost importance to seek help if you're feeling attacked, depressed, or desperate. Sadly, Hana Kimura took her own life after experiencing emotionally distressing attacks online based on her involvement with the reality TV program Terrace House, Tokyo 2019 to 2020. This takes nothing away from Kimura's work in the squared circle, of course, as she was a devastatingly talented up-and-comer with all the potential in the world. She had competed in Stardom prior to her passing, and by all accounts had a bright future ahead of her in the business. Number 6, Miss Elizabeth. For wrestling fans of a certain age, there was just no escaping it. Miss Elizabeth was everywhere, and why wouldn't she have been? This former valet and wife to Randy Macho Man Savage was seen by many as the first lady of professional wrestling, a kind and sweet soul amidst a sea of aggro and attitude.
And Randy's so intense and Elizabeth so subdued. They wanted you to love Elizabeth and hate Randy.
Of course, this on-screen demure demeanor also hid real-life trouble behind the marriage of Savage and Elizabeth.
Once she was gone, he really kind of just went silent.
The latter-day relationship between Elizabeth and wrestler Lex Luger was also volatile, and marred by alleged reports of domestic violence between the pair. It was Luger who ultimately found Elizabeth unresponsive after an accidental mixture of painkillers and vodka resulted in her death at just 42.
I think it's a shame Liz isn't in the Hall of Fame. I think that she was called the First Lady of Wrestling for a reason.
Number 5, the Fabulous Moolah. It's difficult to reconcile the importance of the Fabulous Moolah's in-ring career with the controversial nature of her personal life.
She was a great professional wrestler, but she didn't know when to stop.
Moolah, at one point, was basically the only entry point for women to enter the male-dominated world of professional wrestling. Her training and tutelage would prepare future competitors to enter the squared circle. But behind the scenes, accusations flew that Moolah was also arranging illegal and improper liaisons with the young girls in her care.
She dumped me, and I never wrestled again.
She was also notoriously protective of her role in the hierarchy of any promotion, even going so far as to screw former WWE Women's Champion Wendy Richter out of the title for real during a match at Madison Square Garden.
Took their mask off, and it was Moolah.
Number 4. Luna Vachon. We mentioned earlier how different the climate was for women's wrestling in the WWE back in the day, but one earlier outlier was Luna Vachon. To be fair, most of Vachon's best in-ring work was done outside of Vince McMahon's company, but there's no denying the visibility that WWE brought to a woman who lived and breathed professional wrestling.
Luna Vachon's deranged antics captivated audiences, but unknown to fans, her over-the-top persona was born from a lifelong struggle with mental health.
Unfortunately, this dedication to the sport she loved meant being an absent parent, battling addiction, and struggling with her mental health.
She wasn't in control of her entire life.
Although Vachon, by all accounts, was an absolute professional working at the highest level of her craft, the demons of substance abuse ultimately took her life back in 2009.
There's nobody like her. She's original, that's for sure.
Number 3. Woman. It's perhaps easy for wrestling fans today to underestimate the role of managers and valets in the business. They not only served as a visual focal point, but also could work as mouthpieces for those greener wrestlers who were unsure on the mic. Nancy Benoit was both of these things, a strikingly beautiful woman who could also appear tough as nails and always in control.
She was good at what she did. Probably one of the first.
She worked with pros like Kevin Sullivan and managed the tag team known as Doom, but is tragically best known for the horrible circumstances involving her death at the hands of her husband, Chris Benoit.
How is that even logical for this man who loved her so much?
Although nothing will bring Nancy back to her fans, her legacy as one of the industry's finest managers will forever remain secure.
She needs to be remembered for a strong woman pioneering in this business and her talent, and focus on that.
Number 2. Tammy Lynn Sitch. It's easy to point to Sunny, aka Tammy Lynn Sitch, as the link between women's wrestling and the crossover commercial of the WWE Diva. She was immensely popular during her day as a manager and valet, and possessed a charisma that made her always seem at ease on WWE television. This stands in stark contrast to the personal problems that seem to have dogged her in more recent years. Substance abuse and arrests for burglary and disorderly conduct are just some of the legal woes that have troubled Sitch in her post-WWE life.
Tamara Sitch in court this morning after being arrested for the 4th time for harassing a former boyfriend.
Amongst other troubles, a 2020 arrest on multiple charges resulted in a brief incarceration at Monmouth County Correctional Institution. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Chyna. Chyna was known as the 9th wonder of the world during her time as a part of the WWE's women's division, a pioneer for female professional wrestlers then, now, and forever.
She wanted to take the pain that she had felt for so long and make something good about it.
Chyna's in-ring career saw plenty of highlights, including being the first woman to hold the Intercontinental Championship. Despite this, the woman-born Joni Laura struggled with addiction and personal demons, even appearing on reality TV programs to confront these issues head-on.
When you watch the reality TV shows, you saw somebody that was out of control.
A career in adult films was just one strange turn in a life that seemed to orbit so many different kinds of people, all of whom she touched with her warm personality and sweet demeanor. Sadly, Chyna would pass away from an accidental overdose in April 17th, 2016.
It's a shocker for millions of wrestling fans. WWE legend Chyna has died.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.